What is going on, y'all? Five Sports Talk back at it with another video, and today I've got a very, very special video for you guys. I have a collaboration video with some of my fellow YouTubers, and we're doing an NFC North preview for the 2020 football season. So I've got Alex, Troy, and Steven here. They all have separate YouTube channels for the respective teams or for the NFL in general. So I'll kind of just kick it off to them to just plug themselves and their YouTube channels. So Alex, I'll start with you, then Troy, and then Steven.
All right. Hi, guys. My name is Alex. I run Basaraski Productions, obviously represent the Packers. So if you're watching Fives right now, you'll probably hate me. But if you want to go look at my channel, give it a go.
Yeah, I'm DoseOfDion 2.0, or Troy. I cover the Detroit Lions, Twitter, Instagram, YouTube. Shout out to Fives for having me on this one.
Absolutely, man. Steven?
And I'm Steven, also known as Broshmo, if you did not know. So I'm going to try to do the Vikings today. But my channel is just a little bit all over the place with just football news, draft analysis, and a little fantasy football, and a little gaming too, because ooh-wee Madden.
Yeah, see, why not? So love it. So, right. Yeah, we got a packed show for you guys. I got a bunch of questions we're going to talk about with the NFC North. I just want to start off by giving a quick plug here. We've actually all collaborated because we're all part of this new project that we're working on called Fan to Fan Network. It's launching very soon. We've got the website for that, and we've got a Twitch channel. Right now, it does not have content, but we will have content on it very soon as the NFL season approaches. So the links for the Fan to Fan Network will be in the description, the Twitch channel, the Instagram channel. Make sure to follow all that. That is going to be the best place for you to reach out to all of us collaborating, and I'll also have their YouTube channels there. So with that being said, let's go ahead and get started here. So the NFC North, I thought this was the best division in pro football for a lot of years. This year I might disagree with that. But we'll start with the first question. So I'm going to ask everybody here to give their team a rating for both the draft and free agency. And I will start with Alex first.
Okay. All right. So I know a lot of people on Twitter and all that with the Packers didn't like the Packers draft, draft a quarterback and a running back 1 and 2. I'm on the opposite side. I like them drafting for the future. I think that's important, and that's why the Packers have been such a great franchise since, Brett Favre came in 92. I still give it a 6.5 though, just because I think they could have done a little better on the back end of the draft. Jordan Love is a good prospect. Everyone got mad at that, but I think he has a lot of promise if he's coached well. I think A.J. Dillon's a wonderful pickup. I'm very hype about him. Aaron Jones is a free agent after this year. I don't think they're going to pay him. And A.J. Dillon's just a real workhorse back. That just, it's going to be a guy in Lambeau in the winter that you don't want to tackle. And with free agency, I give it a 6 because they didn't do many acquisitions. I got Devin Funchess, Christian Kirksey after losing Blake Martinez. Not nearly as much as they did last year with the Smith linebackers and Amos, but they kind of held their own. They didn't lose much. They didn't gain much.
Fair enough. I can't disagree there much. So, Troy, I'll hand it off to you.
All right. Yeah. So, okay, the Lions offseason. So I would say this is kind of hit or miss for a lot of fans. Some people loved it because the Lions in free agency went out, brought in a whole bunch of former Patriots. Some people didn't like it because they think we're trying to be the Patriots. I get it, because that's where everybody's from. Matt Patricia, Bob Quinn, they all have ties there. So, looking at who the guys are that's running the organization, I think it makes sense in a big year for those guys because of the last couple of years not going so well, 9-22-1. I think it makes sense to bring in players that you're familiar with. So free agency, man, I did like it because I'm going to side with, bringing the guys that you're familiar with that what you're going to get. The one I didn't love the most, I didn't say I wouldn't love it. It was the Big V signing, our tackle, who we gave our biggest deal to. I think it was the first free agent we brought in. And the one concern I have there is he wasn't my favorite tackle. Didn't know tons about him. He hasn't really started. He's been behind 2 really good tackles in the league for a while. So he's moved around, played different positions. So there's definitely versatility there. He's just probably the most unproven player for how much money we gave him. That's my one concern with free agency. And then in the draft, kind of like free agency, I would say Jeff Okudah was hit or miss for a few fans because, some people wanted Simmons. I would say it was either Simmons or Okudah. A couple people wanted, to get Derek Brown or something like that. But, for the most part, I was shocked they took DeAndre Swift. I didn't think they'd go running back. I'm glad they're trying to make the running game a thing in Detroit because it hasn't been in so long. So I'd say overall, I'd probably go around the 8 range, and that's really because I like that they're bringing in the guys that they're familiar with to win this year. But I feel like if you have other coaches and other guys, other leaders, then maybe that wasn't the best offseason. So I'd go 8, man. But I'm an optimistic fan. That's just how I've been doing it.
No, I love the the Lions draft. I thought it was fantastic, honestly. I love DeAndre Swift. I think they needed to get back to running the football. So I don't think that's too optimistic. Broshmo, what about you with the Vikings?
I too liked the Vikings draft. But as far as free agency, not a lot of Vikings fans will probably like it. I give it a 6 at best. I really liked the Stephon Diggs move. I thought they got a load of picks, and they used them very wisely in the draft. Michael Pierce move was, I get it. They lost Joseph, but I was a big Armand Watts guy who was there. I believe he was a rookie last season. But regardless, they got a really good rotation there on the defensive line, like always. But outside of that, they didn't really do much of else because they were really cap strapped. But I like that they kept Anthony Harris. They at least kept somebody in that secondary because they basically gave away the other 3 starters at corner there. But it is what it is. As far as the draft, I loved their draft. I'm a little bit indifferent with Justin Jefferson because I think he's a slot guy, but still, he's got the ideal size and speed, so he should work in theory. Jeffrey Gladney, he's got great length, very fast. He definitely fits what Zimmer looks for. Ezra Cleveland might be a nice guy. Maybe start at guard first, move him over to Riley Reef because he's going to probably be gone after this season. Cameron Dantzler was good value. They just got really good value there. Just throughout the draft, I'd probably give their draft like an 8.5. So, yeah, I'm very optimistic. If I were a Vikings fan,
a lot of people like the Vikings draft as well. So I'll go with the Bears now. Draft wise, I'll probably say a 7. They drafted Cole Kmet, who was the best tight end in the draft. But again, if you want to say that tight end was their biggest need, I probably don't think so.
We need 10 of them.
So the only reason you can say good things about it was because Cole Kmet was the best tight end in the draft by far. And listen, I know we have 10 tight ends, but that doesn't mean they're all good. Okay, they're actually not. None of them are good.
One of them's named is Jimmy Graham. So
yes, which I'll get to in a second here when I talk about free agency. So Cole Kmet, again, positionally, didn't really need it as much, right? You would think, but I liked the Cole Kmet pick, and then Jalen Johnson. I thought he was a nice pick. They thought he'd go in the first round if it wasn't for his injury concern. So I didn't mind it at all. The place where I docked the Bears a few points is that they waited too long to address the offensive line. They waited till the 7th round, the very last at the very end. So they're depending on the scheme and the new coaching staff to, I guess, address the offensive line, but not through talent. And they added, a few pieces through free agency. But, yeah, overall, I'd probably say a 7 for the Bears draft. Free agency, though. I like free agency. I'm going to give it a one more point. I'm going to give it an 8. Now, I know Nick Foles wasn't free agency. It was a trade. But I'm going to count it anyways, okay? Because I know quarterback was the, biggest need in terms of at least having somebody to challenge Mitch Trubisky. Now, it's very well known that I think Mitch Trubisky still is going to be the Bears quarterback. I've made my stance known, but Nick Foles is a great option, and if he wins the starting job, he wins it. I love that. Jimmy Graham, I hated it. That was the only bad part about the Bears free agency. It was awful. Jimmy Graham is washed up.
Yeah.
Literally, we got the Packers like trash. Okay? I don't know what Ryan Pace was thinking, but like I said, this is where the Cole Kmet pick helps out. So either way, somebody is going to play tight end that will be better than last year. And believe it or not, that's still an upgrade over who we had last year, which was an injured Trey Burton and a bunch of practice squad guys. I like the Ted Ginn signing. We needed some speed. Tayshaun Gibson, that was a nice pickup in our back end. But, yeah, so I would say an 8 for the Bears free agency and a 7 for their draft. Okay, so next question is a simple one. What are you most looking forward to with your team or the team that you're talking about? So it could be a player, coach, a battle in training camp, anything. And I'll start with this one. We'll go in reverse order to Steve and Broshmo and then Troy and then Alex. So mine's pretty easy. It's the quarterback battle. right? Nick Foles or Mitch Trubisky in training camp, who's going to win the starting job? I have come out and said I think it's going to be Mitch for a couple of reasons. One, with this offseason or whatever we want to call this, because there has been an offseason, I think Mitch has the advantage. He knows the offense. He knows the receivers. He knows the system. So I think that's going to be an advantage for Mitch. And I think he is definitely motivated and pissed off, which he should be, because here's the thing with Mitch Trubisky. If he does not win this job, I think his starting quarterback career in the NFL is on the line. He could get a backup gig somewhere, but as far as a starting quarterback, it's on the line. So I think Mitch wins this job, but I want to see, obviously, this training camp battle, and it's going to be the biggest thing deciding the Bear season by far. So I'll hand it off to Steven and Broshmo. Go ahead.
All right. Well, I guess probably the most interesting camp battle would be who will be the starters at corner for the Vikings. Because, got to think Mike Hughes is a given. Zimmer likes to bring his corners along very slowly. And this is kind of would be probably a make or break year. And I know a lot of people probably are going to pencil in Jeffrey Gladney as a starter. I think he's going to end up being the slot for most of the season. Probably maybe get a start at the end. The guy I'm kind of excited to look at how he does is going to be, where is he? Holton Hills. There we go. Because he actually had a really good rookie season. Granted, limited sample size last year. He was actually still pretty good. Limited sample size. The thing is, we haven't really seen him throughout a season. We haven't seen him as a consistent starter, even really consistently in the lineup. But when he's been on the field, he's been really good. So honestly, that whole dynamic of who will start. We got Hughes, Hill probably, and then probably Gladney, and then maybe Gladney eventually get into the starting lineup. It's going to be interesting. Cameron Dantzler was a guy I was huge on in the draft. Big knock on him was he was slow. It happens. But I thought he was very good. I mean, he played 3 great seasons as a starter for Mississippi State against the SEC. He has a really good game film against Jamar Chase. So I think that's just going to be super interesting camp battle if we, I guess, let's get a camp this year.
Cross my fingers.
Yeah, I think the cornerback positional group will be fun too, but mine's easy. It has to be Matthew Stafford. Matthew Stafford coming back. I mean, when you lose every game without him, I think you got to be excited to have that guy back. Hopefully we're more competitive than with him back on the field. But there's a lot of excitement around this team when he was on the field because, I mean, he played the best we've ever seen him play. I mean, his stats would have been the best of his career. He put up crazy numbers as a team. They put up really good numbers. I believe they would have been first in passing yards if he would have been healthy, staying by averages. So having Matthew Stafford back is going to be huge. And obviously the coaches, and the GM are going to want him back as well so they can keep their jobs. So, yeah, Matthew Stafford's got to be the guy for me.
Dude, him attacking downfield last year was –
man, loved it.
Loved
it.
So with me is 2 things. One is second year of Matt LaFleur. Because, I've had to deal with Mike McCarthy for so long, and it's so interesting to see a young coach, that's Aaron's age about, and come in and just kind of have like a new view on offense. And I think it's going to get better, because, I think it's going to get better. I think they're going to be able to run things smoother. Last year, they're having a little bit of issue with the play clock running down and not getting plays off and just having to scramble around. They said they wanted to upgrade that and pretty much, get that more flow. So I think, the whole offense with Aaron mostly is going to be better through Matt LaFleur, just learn more. And the second thing would be who would step up at wide receiver, because you have Devante Adams and then a question mark. I'm a big Allen Lazard supporter. I think he's going to step up. I think he's a dark horse type of player. People don't rate him high. I think he's good. And then you have a couple other guys. You have one of the CFL guys, Reggie Bagleton. You got Marquez Valdez-Scantling, who sucked last year, St. Brown, who got hurt last year, Jake Kumaro, who we all love for some reason. And I think that's it on the receiver end. So just excited for Matt LaFleur, second year under that offense, and then also to see who steps up at wide receiver.
Wow. No, that makes sense, man. Alex, you better pray Devante doesn't get hurt, man, because that receiving core outside of Devante is not pretty.
Yeah, I'm more optimistic than most. Most people are like, why in the world they didn't draft a receiver? And they were mad. Like, Twitter was going wild.
Oh, yeah.
So I'm a little more optimistic. I believe in the front office, and I believe in them, putting their hopes behind Alan Lazard.
Okay, let's see it. Okay, perfect. So let's move on to the next question here, and this is probably the question everyone's been waiting for. Which team wins the division and why? So I'll start, and then we'll go again with Alex, and then Troy, and then Steven. I don't know if you guys have any guesses. I'll do like a drum roll because I'm a Bears fan, but I have the Packers winning the division. Okay, but it's very close. 11-5 is what I have the Packers going, and 10-6 is what I have the Bears going. Troy's looking at me with a weird look. Troy, we'll talk about it later, but I'll let you make your case. Look, the only reason I have the Packers, just literally a bit over the Bears, is because of Aaron Rodgers, and that's really it. And I think we're getting a motivated Aaron Rodgers here. I think he's hearing all the talk, the Madden disrespect now, the obviously the Jordan Love pick. I think he comes out and he just absolutely, has a great year. And you know what? When you have a quarterback like that, who to me is a top 5 quarterback, I think he can obviously win you games by himself. But also the Packers last year, I mean, when you take a look at the fact Aaron Jones had a career year, 16 touchdowns, so love that. I definitely think the Bears can win the division. They can, if things click right. But right now, the edge is with the Packers, so I'm going to go with the Packers. Alex, do you agree with me?
Yes, I do agree with you, and I agree with you. And on 11-5, that was my prediction as well. So 13-3 last year. I just don't see them duplicating 13-3. A lot of the games they won, some of them were very close, and some things bounced their way that maybe shouldn't have. So I agree with your 11-5 assessment. But like you said, it's Aaron Rodgers, so I was never taught to bet against the guy. You see day in and day out with the crazy things he can do. And if, like you said, he has a revenge tour or whatever with them drafting Jordan Love, look out. That's my opinion. He is older now, so he's not as athletic, but it's still Aaron Rodgers. He can still win games on his own. So
just real quick, how does the rest of the division shape out for you? 2, 3, and 4.
Okay, 2. I think I actually have the Vikings at 2. And then sorry, Troy, but I have the Bears at 3 in the line.
Okay, perfect. Troy, the floor is yours. Go off.
Yeah. Okay. So this is always a hard question for me to answer, because it's hard. It's hard for us Lions fans to ever say we're going to win the division, but it's the first time for everything. It has to happen at some point.
Make your case, baby.
Just here we go, man. Let's make the case. Let's do it. So I'm going to make my case why the Lions will win the North, but I do have another team that I will put in there that I think could definitely win it. I wouldn't be shocked. So we'll start off with the Lions. We know Matt Stafford was healthy for 8 games last year. And when he was healthy, with one of the worst defenses in the league, and which is actually what it looks like if you go to the end of the year. But if you take and look at like the first 6 weeks of the season, until the Vikings game, the defense was playing pretty well. And I think what really was a big problem with defensively, because that's the biggest problem with the team, is, the Darius Slay, we all know he wanted out, and that was kind of a mess. And I think it all went downhill once Quandre Diggs was traded, because that was like his friend, and then there was all these locker room problems, and all of a sudden the secondary is bad because he was one of the best in the league until week 6, and all of a sudden it got really bad. So for me, I think, when you get guys in there that want to buy in, the defense doesn't have to be, I would say, great for us to win the division. I don't think it has to be. I just think it has to be average. I really do. I think because of what we've seen from the offense last year when Stafford was healthy is that if this defense was average, this team would have been really, really good. We know, they played the Chiefs down to the wire. We know they played them right to the last possession. We probably could have won that game if we get one stop. Through the first 8 games, we know the Packers game. I won't talk about that too much. But the first Packers game, that was controversial. But I mean, through the first 8 weeks, they played well. They beat a playoff team in the Philadelphia Eagles. I thought they were really good with Stafford, and I think the defense can take another step. It should take another step because in 2018 we saw it. It doesn't have to be great. It just has to be better. And I think the weapons they have surrounded Stafford with, they're kind of going for that route to me, as in let's just score tons of points. I mean, we're trying to run the football. We want to have a really balanced offense, but we're going to play to our strengths. We're going to draft the top running back. We're going to build out that backfield. We're going to continue to add weapons for Stafford. And if he plays at the level he did last year, I mean, he's playing at a level to win the division. Now, that out of the way, with my thought that Lions can definitely win the division, my other team that I think that wouldn't shock me that's not the Lions would be the Minnesota Vikings. I like what the Vikings have. I think when you look at the cornerback group, they had a lot of turnover, I would say, defensively, a lot of new pieces. But I like what they did this offseason. I love the Cameron Dantzler pick. I thought he was a really good cornerback. I like their draft overall. I think the Vikings are a really good around team. The Dalvin Cook situation scares me a little bit. We'll see how that goes. But I think the Packers are pretty well balanced. I think it's a good division. And I think 2, 3, and 4, they could shape up in a lot of different ways. Like, I think the Bears, they got a scary defense. You know, when you put Robert Quinn and Khalil Mack on the same defense, it's scary. So, man, 2, 3, and 4 are tough. I think the Packers could take a step back, and it's not because they're terrible. It's just because the division, I think, can be really tough this year and really well balanced. So for me, yeah, I would put the Lions at 1 for sure, but I'd probably put the Vikings at 2, Packers 3, then Bears 4, but it would be close because I really think this is a competitive division and a lot of, you could get a lot of shocking things this year.
No, I agree. Troy, one more question before I hand it off to Steven. If you believe the Lions win the division, is that because you believe in them so much, or do you need the other teams in the NFC North to take a step back for you to actually think the Lions win?
No, I really think they're there. You know, I think their offense is that good. I really think it could be the best in the league next year.
Wow. Oh, best. Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
Bold predictions for the next question. Okay.
My bad.
Steven, go ahead.
All right. So despite supporting the Vikings throughout this video, I dressed for the occasion. It's going to be the Packers. They didn't do anything to improve, but I don't think they hurt themselves. So I have them at a 10-6. I think it's going to be very close. The Vikings, I think, can make a case. I have them at 9-7. Kirk Cousins last year, he was the best quarterback, or as far as QB rating, he was the best in the fourth quarter. The Dalvin Cook situation does scare me, as it should. I have my gripes with the Justin Jefferson pick, but honestly, it's a good pickup. But yeah, I'm just scared about the secondary. It's a passing league. It's just, I think the Vikings, they did a lot for not the 2020 season, but ahead. I don't think, I think it'll be close, but yeah, I got the Packers. I mean, it's Aaron Rodgers. It's hard to go against them.
How do you have 2, 3, and 4 shaping up?
I have actually, I got the Lions edging out. I have it 6-10, but I had the Lions as better division record. So, yeah, dude, I don't know. Nick Foles.
That's fair.
I'm confused. How do I feel?
There's a lot of people that are confused. You know what? That's fine. I'll take it. So perfect. Next question, which Troy got to already. I told him to wait, but Troy, if you don't have another one, think of another one. But I'm just saying you can use that one. Which was one bold prediction for your team. Okay, so try to be bold, but also try to make it somewhat realistic. So I'll start, and then this time we'll just go to Steven, and then Troy, and then Alex. My bold prediction is David Montgomery rushes for 1,200 yards. I believe, just like how everybody here on this call and in the NFL is confused about the Bears quarterback situation, it doesn't matter as much because I feel like the Bears are going to run the football a lot this year. And they're going to run the football because I believe David Montgomery is very talented. Last year, again, I don't know if you guys watched him a lot, but he would make holes when there weren't holes. Like the Bears' run blocking was just awful, and you could tell because he averaged only 3.7 yards a carry. But I'm telling you, the kid has talent, and so I think they run the football a lot. I think they become a running football team. And just to give you a quick comparison here, David Montgomery had the same carries as Josh Jacobs did on the Raiders. The only difference was yards per carry. Montgomery had 3.7. I think Josh Jacobs had like 4.2 or 3 or whatever. Josh Jacobs ended up with 1,100 rushing yards. So it's not that far off. And I think they both have the same amount of talent. So to me, David Montgomery, 1,200 rushing yards is my bold prediction. Steven, hand it off to you.
My bold prediction is going to be Eric Kendricks wins Defensive Player of the Year. Because he should have been in the conversation this past season. I know, and I had my Defensive Player of the Year when I did my awards. I had Danielle Hunter. So maybe I'm just a mark for Vikings. But, dude, he was one of the best linebackers in the league, if not the best. He was phenomenal in coverage, which goes very underappreciated. He just does a lot. He is kind of the glue to this offense, or defense. I know a lot of people want to say Harrison Smith is like that, but I think very much so. The real reason that this defense was able to stick together despite definite flaws in the passing game was because of Eric Kendricks. So going to give him a little love here.
Old Troy?
Like it. All right. Well, I think I kind of gave mine away, but I have like a little thing that I think bounces off of it pretty well. So yeah, I guess if we have the best offense in the league, then Matthew Stafford would win the MVP. That's my bold prediction. Here's the thing. I really bold. No, here's my thing. I think when you look at the Lions historically, we know we're looked at as one of the worst teams of all time, and it's rightfully so. We've only had like one playoff win in the Super Bowl era. We've been bad. We have not had playoff success. And for me, because of that, I think when you look at a guy like Stafford, the times that he's ever been in the running is when the Lions were competitive, right? When they were a playoff type of team. And the time that you did make the Pro Bowl, they were 11-5. So for me, I think the way that he wins an MVP award would be him leading the Lions to a playoff win. I think the Lions win a playoff win, he'd get the MVP just because it's something that you don't expect. Like for me, I think if Baker Mayfield goes out, wins the playoff game for the Browns, I think that would be something that the league would recognize, even if maybe he doesn't have the best season of every quarterback. So I think if Stafford could lead the Detroit Lions to win a single playoff game, I think it would be huge for the Lions, and I think they could consider giving him the MVP.
Okay. Alex, before I hand it off to you, Troy, I got another question. If you believe Stafford is going to win MVP, do you not think the Lions are going to put any emphasis on the running game this year with Kerryon Johnson and DeAndre Swift?
No, see, I think they'll put emphasis on running game, and I think we saw that a little bit last year with Darrell Bevel. They tried to run more because, that's where he's from. That's what he does. I think what helps Stafford – well, the running game will help Stafford because I don't think he needs the best numbers. But we also saw him put up his most efficient numbers with last year, and I think it's just because Darrell Bevel's, letting him take shots. He's opening more plays. He's got a real offensive coordinator. Jim Bob Cooter was not a real offensive coordinator. That was a mess. I feel like Darrell Bevel is really good, and I just think it really is team success for Stafford. So he'll put up good numbers. He'll be more efficient, and I think that'll be big for them.
Fair. Alex?
Okay. So mine's similar to Steven's as a defensive player of the year. I actually have my bold prediction being Darius Smith.
Yeah, I was going to say.
So
underrated. So underrated.
He got snubbed hard, like Pro Bowl, which I don't care about, but All Pro, just insanely snubbed hard. I think he is one of the best edge rushers in the game. He led the league in pressures. He did so much for this defense as a first-year player. Like, he came in and instantly was a leader, which is weird to see for someone who's around 26, 27 years old and is the first year on a team. So I think he could get even better. And I think and with Preston Smith on their side and Kenny Clark in the middle, second year with a Mike Pettin system. So I just think he could really get better, and that's crazy to say because he did so good in the first place, but people still undervalue him. And I think he's a freak of nature. So I got him Defensive Player of the Year.
He was great last year.
Yeah, I see Steven over there. He's very underrated. He's very underrated. He gave us problems for sure. Great pick. So, all right. So the final one is kind of like a rapid fire round type of question. We're just going to go through the positional differences with the division. So just quick 1-word or 2-word answers here. Because I've seen this on Instagram. There's like debates, obviously, on the best, wide receiver in the NFC North, best running back, etc. So we'll start with the running back. Which team do you believe has the best running back core and the best running back in the NFC North? So I'll just start. We'll go to Alex, then Troy, then Steven. The best running back to me, even though he had an incredible year last year, is not Aaron Jones. It's Dalvin Cook. And I believe the best running football team is also the Minnesota Vikings. Sorry, the best running back core is also the Minnesota Vikings. Alex?
Yeah, I'm obviously going to say Aaron Jones. I'm a bigger fan of his than Dalvin Cook's.
Are you being objective? I'm just asking.
No, I just love Aaron Jones, man.
Okay, he had a monster year, by the way. I was just messing around.
It's 19 total touchdowns because you said 16 rushing. He had 3 receiving as well.
I forgot about the receiving game.
He was a big factor in the receiving game as well. When Devante went down, he was pretty much their receiver, which is weird. But I would also give the Packers the best running core because they drafted A.J. Dillon. Jamal Williams is a decent back. He's the type of dude where it's raining out, you just throw him into the offensive line and he'll gain yards. Good. He's the best pass blocker on the team. So Jamal Williams, Aaron Jones, and A.J. Dillon, I think, could be a pretty good 3-headed monster.
I forgot to mention Alexander Madison, by the way. He's a beast, so that's why I want to give the Vikings props. So, Troy?
Yeah, best running back, I'll go with Dalvin Cook, when he's healthy. And then I'll say the best group is the Packers. I think Vikings are close, but I like the A.J. Dillon move. I like that dude.
Yeah, no, he's going to be good. Steven?
Yeah, Dalvin Cook, for obvious reasons. and I'd probably go with the Packers. Just because, I love Aaron Jones as well, and Jamal Williams he's actually a pretty solid pass catching back.
Mm-hmm.
And AJ Dillon, I think he's gonna really hurt Aaron Jones in the goal line if you're a fantasy fan. So
I am. I'm staying away from Aaron Jones this year, by the way. He's not getting 16 rushing touchdowns. There's no chance.
I'd go with the Packers.
Okay, perfect. So we'll move on to wide receiver. So same question: best wide receiver in the NFC North and wide receiver core. Best wide receiver for me, and we'll go me and then Steven and then Troy and Alex, is Devante Adams. But hear me out. I think Allen Robinson, if you can make an argument for him up there, because I'm telling you right now, Devante Adams has played with the Hall of Fame quarterback his whole career. Allen Robinson's played with Blake Bortles and Mitch Trubisky, and this man just puts on numbers after numbers. Line him up anywhere. He can beat you deep in the slot, curl, slant, whatever you want to do. And you know what? I might just say it. I think Allen Robinson might be the best receiver in the NFC North just because, like I said, he doesn't get the same quarterback play that Devante Adams does. I can't imagine what he'd do with Aaron Rodgers.
He chose the Bears over the Packers.
Yeah.
He chose that.
That's true. That's a good
He
point.
chose that.
And the best wide receiving core to me, this one, and I shouldn't even just say wide receiving core, maybe best receiving core too, but it's the Lions. Kenny Galladay is a beast. Marvin Jones, very, very underrated number 2 wide receiver. I like the Lions a lot. So, Steven, hand it off to you.
I think Lions, and I'm going to say the best receiver is Kenny Galladay.
Wow.
I think he took a huge step last season.
Wow.
And half that season he was playing with who? So
David Blau.
Yeah, Blau. Yeah, right. I remember the first video, or I did a fantasy video. I couldn't even say his name right. I was like, Blow. Which he did. But I think Kenny Galladay, he showed he could do the whole Allen Robinson thing where, hey, he doesn't matter who's his quarterback. He come out, he got 11 touchdowns last year. I think he was at 1,100 yards. If he could start turning like his catch rate up a little bit, because I think he had over like 100 something targets, but okay, granted, it's not like they were very accurate targets on the second half of the season, but he only ended with, I think, like 60 or 70 receptions. But I think, honestly, he took the next step, and I think he will become elite this season.
Troy?
Yeah, I think the North is super top heavy for receivers. I think it's hard. I think, we got 3 of the best receivers in the league. And then, so for me, I'm going to go Lions, the best wide receiver core. I think that's, kind of easy. And then for the top wide receiver, I'll go with Galladay too. And I think for 2020, I feel like Devante Adams is a beast, but Galladay is just getting better every year. And if you get a whole season of him with Stafford, it could be crazy.
Yep.
Kenny Galladay's so good. Alex?
Okay, so I'm obviously going to choose Devante Adams. I think he's top 4 in the league. You can yell at me all you want. I think he's the best route runner in the league, and he's wild. I love watching him. And I'll say also the Lions has the best receiver core. I really like Galladay. I'm actually really high on Galladay. Marvin Jones, like Faiz said, it's underrated. And if you're counting tight ends, I think Hawkinson can get even better as well.
Is Allen, like, we know there's the 3 alpha receivers, right? It's A-Rob, and it's Devante, and it's Galladay. Is it the same order for you guys, like you just said? Just quickly, just give me your order for those 3. Steven,
mine would be
Alex, you can start.
I got Devante, Galladay, then Robinson. But like you said, with Robinson with the quarterback, you don't know.
Yeah. Troy?
Yeah, well, mine would be then Galladay, Adams, Robinson. But, he needs a quarterback.
Steven, same thing?
Yeah, I might throw Thielen at 3, though. So.
Oh, yeah, I didn't even mention Adam Thielen, by the way. Underrated. Very underrated. Sorry, Adam Thielen. Just point that out. Okay, next one, a tight end. So best tight end core, and then the best tight end in the NFC North. This one's very ugly. And you know what? For 2020, good Lord. I wanted to say Kyle Rudolph, but I don't think I can. I'm going to say TJ Hawkinson. I know TJ Hawkinson only had one good game before, he didn't do anything the rest of the year, but that's also because Matt Stafford got hurt. And I can, in good conscience, pick Jimmy Graham, obviously, so I'm not going to pick him. He's awful. But Cole Kmet's just not there yet, so I have to go with TJ Hawkinson. And then the best tight end core, though, is the Vikings because they have Kyle Rudolph and Irv Smith Jr. Yes. So, Alex?
Okay. I would have to agree with Hawkinson. The Packers don't really have a clear
Who is the Packers starting? Is it Jay Sternberger?
It's going to be either Sternberger. I think Mercedes Lewis is going to be out there a lot. We drafted Uzziah DeGaria, but he's more of like a H-back type guy.
Is tight end just like, are you just not playing the tight end position this year? I feel like the Packers are just not going to play a tight end.
I think once Martellus Bennett came and screwed us, we kind of just gave up.
We haven't had a good tight end since Jermichael Finley, but go ahead.
Yeah, seriously. The core, I mean, I would have to agree with the Vikings, but I feel like, couldn't it be the Bears because they just have so many options? like a couple of them have to be good, right?
You gotta think of quality, not quantity.
Yeah, true.
Exactly. I'll take it. I'll take it, Troy.
Yeah, I guess I'll hop on the Hawkinson train too, and then I'll go Vikings for the best core. I think there's too many improvements with the Lions. I like Irv Smith too out of Alabama.
Steven?
Yeah, I'm gonna be different here. I'm gonna go with Irv Smith because he was phenomenal. He was able to kick out to the slot. I think he could play outside if he wants. He was running like NFL wide receiver routes. It wasn't like your like basic NFL tight end routes. The guy is really good. I think he was better than Hawkinson last year. I mean, Hawkinson had a lot of opportunity. I know he's got the whole top 10 pick pedigree, but I really liked what saw from Irv Smith, and I just want to be different. I'll go with Vikings too.
Yeah, so. He is good. Hey, Troy, just out of curiosity, what happened to T.J. Hawkinson? He had like one good game and then he fell off. Was it just Matt Stafford being out?
It was week 1 was really good, and after that he was quiet.
Literally just the first week. Yeah. That's it. So I was just curious because he's talented.
Yeah, I mean he got hurt a couple of times, but it's kind of weird. I don't know.
Okay, and then you know what? Just asking. I'm not going to do the quarterback. Do you guys want to do the quarterback position? I mean, is it like I have Aaron Rodgers?
You know my answer.
Yeah. Okay. So I'm just going to guess.
Be Kirk Cousins.
I have Aaron Rodgers. Alex, you have Aaron Rodgers. I know I don't have to ask you. Troy, you have Matt Stafford. And Steven, do you have?
Aaron.
Aaron. Okay. So we'll skip it. Well, you know quarterback now. And then finally, the last one is defense. Best defense in the division. I'm going to go with the Bears here. Finally, pick the Bears for something. Look, just look at the damn Bears defense. We're talking about Robert Quinn. Somebody just mentioned that. I think it was Troy. You got somebody opposite Khalil Mack, right? Finally, Leonard Floyd. I'm sorry, he was a bust. Thank you, Ryan Pace, for that. And so we finally have that. Akeem Hicks was out a large portion of last year, so he's going to help our defensive line so much more. We added Tayshaun Gibson. You got Kyle Fuller, Eddie Jackson. These guys never get talked about. They're so disrespected, I feel like. Eddie Jackson never gets talked about as one of the best safeties, but he is. And so I just think from the pass rush to the secondary, I don't see a major weakness. I'll take my Bears, and I'll take them not just in the division, in the entire NFL for the best defense. So, Alex, I'll hand it off to you.
Okay. So I'm on the fence. I think I'm pretty much tied with the Bears and Packers. I think the Packers do have a good, solid core. I just think the Bears have more superstars on defense. The Packers pass rush got even better. Their secondary is young and talented. Obviously, you saw Amos. I'm on the fence, but if I had to give it to someone, it would have to be the Bears. If a slight edge, if anything, Khalil Mack's insane, and like you said, Robert Quinn's. You put him opposite Khalil Mack, he's going to get single teams the whole time. So, and your secondary is very good too. So, but yeah, I would say it's slight edge Bears.
Troy.
Yeah, I'll give the Bears some love too. I'll go Bears here. I like the Packers defense too. I like the two edge rushers they have, and I think their defense is pretty solid. So they're close, but I'll go Bears.
Steven?
Man, screw the Bears.
Are you gonna pick the Vikings?
I'm not actually, because for me, like I question Robert Quinn with the Bears.
What's their question?
Because it really depends how they choose to deploy him. Because he's honestly, like in this later part of his career, he's been a hand in the dirt type of guy. I don't think he's a stand-up pass rusher. So I think they would have to use him very similarly to Khalil Mack. I don't know. I'm kind of intrigued, but I'm going to go with the Packers. I really like what they have. They ran the most nickel of any team last season. So typically they're like, well, they have no linebacker core. They ran one linebacker on the field anyway, so it doesn't really matter. Their secondary is phenomenal. I love Darnell Savage. He was one of my favorites going into the draft, and guess what? He was a banger last year. Adrian Amos is a monster, and they're just quality. So
yep, makes sense. Okay, perfect. So that wraps up the questions, and that wraps up our NFC North preview. So thank you guys for all of that. I hope you guys enjoyed that. So again, I will plug everybody's YouTube channel in here, and you guys make sure check the description, Fan and Fan Network, the Twitch channel, the Instagram, follow all that. It's going to be crazy. A lot to look forward to, man. And make sure everybody follows everyone's channel here. I am Faiz from FaizSportsTalk. We got Alex and his YouTube channel. We got Troy and then Steven as well. So, again, links will be in the description. But really appreciate you guys for hopping on. And thank you for watching.
Go Pack, go.